The prosecution team, headed by Santa Barbara County District Attorney Tom Snedden.
I do think he was obsessed to the point of absurdity.
I believe Tom Snedden should be serving time in prison.
In his view, Michael Jackson was using Neverland as a sinister place to lure children in, and he was never going to be swayed from his view, because I'm the law in Santa Barbara County.
You know, it's almost like you had a vendetta against him, and one way or another, I'm going to get you before I retire.
It didn't take me very long to figure out that these claims were complete fabrications, that Michael Jackson was completely innocent of everything he was charged with.
When I met him, he was a practicing Jehovah's Witness. They don't drink or do drugs or anything. Back when I met him, it was a pretty innocent time.
When we were in Europe and we were doing the Bad Tour, every city we went to a children's hospital for the whole tour. Every city.
Was that Michael's idea?
Yeah. They had a little boy that was dying and wanted to meet Michael. And Michael went up and talked to him, and the kid perked up, and it was like amazing. And I went off to the corner. I cried. I really couldn't take it. And Michael came over and put his arm around me and said, "You have to understand, Frank, this is our job. Not on the stage. This is our job. To make somebody feel good." He believed that. He absolutely believed that.
What I usually do on my off days, I do as many hospitals as I do concerts. I do as many orphanages as I do concerts. But because it's good news, the press don't cover it. They want bad news. But I do it from my heart. I don't do it to wave a flag and say, "Look at me." We bring bags of toys and posters and albums, and you should see how it transforms these kids. They jump up and down, and they're so happy.
I wanted to hang around kids because they were fun, and they didn't want anything from them.
He obviously adored children. It wasn't sexually.
To your knowledge, Mr. Jackson, were you ever accused of having sexually molested Brett Barnes?
Won't answer that.
Throughout my life, I have only tried to help thousands upon thousands of children to live happy lives. It brings tears to my eyes when I see any child who suffers. I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. It is of loving children of all ages and races. It is of gaining sheer joy from seeing children with their innocent and smiling faces. It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself.
We began a journey together across continents, through his past, and rapidly into the disturbing reality of his life today.
Michael Jackson believes Martin Bashir's documentary will finally reveal to the world an artist whose goal in life is to do good, not evil.
Michael Jackson decided to do an interview with Martin Bashir. What do you think about that decision?
It was one of the worst decisions he ever made.
Martin Bashir lured him in under the pretense that he was going to help Michael Jackson's career by erasing any possibility of allegations of the past, by bringing forward Michael's ability and want and desire to help children. And he promised Michael that that's what this would be about.
Martin showed Michael a letter from Princess Diana.
Thanking him?
Thanking him for the show that he did with her. And then Michael just figured, oh, he's okay.
Lady Diana, in real truth, was one of the sweetest people I've ever known. We could relate to each other. We would call each other and we would, you know, just talk about, just like cry on each other's shoulders, how hard and difficult and how mean the tabloids can be and how they lie and twist stories around.
He didn't care. He wasn't trying to be Michael's friend.
What Bashir delivers instead are humiliating moments. The most controversial, one that Bashir possibly set up. The image of Gavin Arvizo, a cancer patient Jackson had once befriended, resting his head on Michael's shoulder, makes the front pages of tabloids worldwide. As does a comment from Jackson edited to imply the two slept in a bed together.
Well, Mr. Jackson didn't say we sleep in the bed together. What Mr. Jackson said was Gavin Arvizo slept on his bed and he slept on the floor. And Mr. Jackson also said that nothing sexual ever goes on between he and children. You know, Michael was used, manipulated, and undermined by Mr. Bashir, in my opinion.
Once Sneddon sees the Bashir documentary, he decides to use it against Jackson. He brings criminal charges against the pop star who he had been after for more than a decade.
Once Tom Sneddon and the prosecutors got involved, then it's no longer a civil case. You can't just write out a check. It just doesn't work that way.
Is it true that Tom Sneddon actually passed a law in the state of California especially designed for Michael Jackson?
Yes.
I think they got too emotionally invested in the case. I think Tom Sneddon seemed gleeful. He took a little too much pleasure in dishing out misery to Michael Jackson. That, to me, was the biggest tell of all.
The jury looked at all this false evidence and said, there's no way we can convict this guy. We got a pile of crap from Tom Sneddon. I mean, this guy literally falsified evidence, and it's on the record. This thing, what he did to Michael Jackson, was so beyond the pale of forgiveness. Alert Tom Mesereau, the defense attorney, got the grand jury transcript, and one of the grand jurors said, shouldn't that boy be wearing gloves? Then after the grand jury, they sent it out for fingerprints analysis. So where did the boy get his fingerprint on the magazine when the boy testified he hadn't even been at Neverland for months when that magazine was published? Yet he claimed that was the magazine Michael Jackson gave him in bed. The man should be doing time in jail. The man is guilty of sin.
Don't judge a person unless you have spoken to them one-on-one. And Jesus said to love the children and be like children. Be youthful and be innocent and be pure and honorable. He was talking to his apostles, and they were fighting over who's the greatest among themselves. And he said, whoever humbled yourself like this child is the greatest among me. And he always surrounded himself with children. And that's how I was raised, to believe and to be like that and to imitate that. I don't know what you're trying to make out of this. I am totally innocent of any wrongdoing. And I know these terrible allegations will all be proven false.
Years ago, I allowed a family to visit and spend some time at Neverland. They told me their son was ill with cancer and needed my help. I never intend to place myself in so vulnerable a position ever again. I love my community, and I have great faith in our justice system. Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. I will be acquitted and vindicated when the truth is told. Thank you.
That had to have crushed Michael Jackson. 5.5 months of your life just being exploited like that, and day after day going into the courtroom and all these things that would, be said about him. That has to take away your spirit. That had to have really taken its toll on him, his health, his whole way of thinking. Michael Jackson did so much for the world, as far as, inspiring them and doing good. I don't understand how people can dislike him. I don't get it. Just because of accusations and false, thoughts of how he is because he has money or because, they think he's weird. So what, We're all weird in our own way.